Hey coding birds. So basically in today's POTD we have a problem divisible by 13, and it is an easy level of problem, and as the problem statement is given a number represented as a string s which may be very large. Check whether it is divisible by 13 or not. Okay, so here we have some inputs value like 2911285 which is divisible by 13, so here we have to return true. Okay, similarly if I'm talking about the second example which is like 27 as input value, and if I'm going to make a divisible by 13 then it will return false. As we know very well, it is like returning some kind of decimal value which is like 2.07 something, okay, which is not a whole number, and we know about whole number, all positive number and negative number including 0 are called as whole number. So it is like representing decimal format value, so here we have to return false. We have to solve this problem with a constant as s dot size must be like greater than equal to 1 and less than or equal to 10 to the power 5, and here we have to solve this problem with an expected time complexity of order of n and the expected auxiliary space of order of 1. Okay, here to solve expected time complexity as order of n and auxiliary space of order of 1, and it is like completely based on mathematical things. Okay, so let's try to solve this problem. See what are the approaches to solve this problem. So our first approach by which we actually checking generally. Okay, so here as in the question, as it is already mentioned that this input value is like in the string format, it is not in the directly in the integer format, and we know very well how we can check any integer value. Okay, let's say if I'm talking about this example here which is like s is equal to 2911285, and for few seconds let's suppose this is in the integer format, then how we can check? Here we just simply check if our s, which is like I am assuming as integer format, so what we will do, we have to just simply take modulus operator, and we know about modulus operator. Modulus operators are basically used to check any number which is like divisible by some other numbers or not. Okay, so here I'm checking by 13, so here as if s modulus 13 is equal to 0, that means if it is like returning 0 as a remainder, then here we can say that return true. Okay, else if it is like not returning 0, okay, as a reminder, then simply we can say that it is false. Okay, but here in these questions, here we have our input value as in the string format. Okay, so here this is our first approach. If number is in integer, okay, so now if I'm talking about our second approach, then how we can solve this problem. See, we have like a lots of method by which we can typecasting. As we know very well about typecasting, typecasting is a way of converting one data types into another data types, right? And we have like two types of ways, like we can say it implicit typecasting or explicit typecasting. Okay, so here we actually going to perform it by using second approach, which is we can say that some kind of inbuilt method. So what I'm doing here, first of all I'm declaring int, and then after that here I'm declaring some variable which is going to basically converts my this string value to integer value. Okay, so int num is equal to, so here to use a method which is known as string to integer, which is STOI, that means string then 2 then I for integer. Okay, S stands for string, then 2, and I is basically stands for integer, that means here string to integer, and here we have to just simply pass our string. Now once we pass this string, now our number contains all this strings value as in the integer format. Okay, then we can simply now check, or we can simply return also if num modulus 13, that means if this integer value is modulus by 13, okay, that means 13, and if it is like returning 0 as a remainder, that means we can simply say that it is true. Okay, else we have to return false. So let me compile and run for this case. So yeah, its compilation is completed and it performs well, but the thing is that if I'm going to submit this problem, then it throws an error. Why? Because as in the problem statement is said that already said that the number is like very large, and we can also see here in the example first here, which is like 2911285. so this is the actually too larger string. Okay, and if you're actually converting any larger string value to integer, then that number may be like out of the bound or like let's say out of the range for the integers value, so it is not going to perform well. Let's say if I'm going to try to submit this problem here, then it throws an error, okay, because we are having a larger number also, and here we can simply say that as in the error format that out of the range, okay, out on the range, that means for the particular input which is having larger number, it is not performed by using these two lines, okay, so it is also fails, this approach is also fails, okay. So here we can say that suitable only for small numbers, okay. Now what we have to do now, this is the third step, not third step, but basically I would like to use different approach. I would like to use some different approach, and what is that approach? Now as we see that if it will be like if I'm like doing for small numbers, then it is suitable for this code, okay. But if we have a larger number, then what we can do? So basically here approach is really very simple. Again we have to do the same things. Let's say we have to define some kind of integer value, which is, let's say, remainder is equal to 0. And now here what we'll do, our approach is really very simple. Here we have to just traverse our string, okay, string value, and we are going to check each value, and we check whether these values like this were 13 or not. If it will be there, then we can simply return it true value. Whatever the length of the string, doesn't matter. If the number is too large also in the string format, we can simply do it by using this approach, whatever I'm going to do here, okay. So here for, and here I'm using for each loop, so char, let's say character, for character, okay, for char I, which is traversing for, or let's say C, okay, char C, which is traversing inside the string S, okay. And now we have to check the condition, okay. So here we have to update our reminder, okay, which is in the integer format, okay. So here we will going to perform everything based on reminders. So what we can do here, reminder is equal to, here to write our code, that means reminder, first of all we have to multiply it with 10, okay, that means reminder multiplied by 10, okay, that means here we have to convert it first, and then after that we have to add it something. What we have to add, we have to add our each value, that means character value minus string format, which is 0 value, okay. So here what we'll do, here we can simply do these things like C minus, which is like 0, okay, and C is basically our current input, okay, or current index, where we have to like subtract this string value so that we can get our current integer value, okay. And then we can simply just do one thing here, we have to just simply return modulus of 13, okay. That means here we are actually converting the number into an integer format, and along with that we are also doing modulus of 13. That means here we have to check whether the number is like this or not, okay. So here we can simply say that if return, if my remainder is equal to 0, that means if remainder is equal to 0, then that means it is 0 to 13, okay. Let me try to compile and run. So here comparison is completed. Let's try to submit it. So it's submitted. So yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.